to go live.
I hope now they are ready.
Yes, ma'am. They're just getting ready. 1 second. Oh, yes. We are live now.
Okay.
All right. Let me just check the YouTube as well. And I'll mute that. Otherwise, what happens is I speak to myself a lot. I can hear myself. Yes. So now, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Education Leaders Confluence's Principal Roundtable, Season 2, Episode 2. Last episode we had on November 5th, and it was pursuant to the International Day Against Violence and Bullying organized by UNESCO, including cyberbullying. And we discussed about the various challenges that we are going to face now as far as online blended learning, cyberbullying, cyber readiness of students is concerned. I'm very, very proud to tell you all that we actually got featured in more than 10 print publications, more than 3 radio stations for our conversation. It was highly appreciated by a lot of community members in the education community across India and beyond. This is the reason why we started this. This is the reason why in 2020, when the lockdown was at its peak, we realized that a lot of principals and schools across India do not have the wherewithal or the resources or the guidance to actually tackle these challenges, which no one could have predicted, and none of us were really prepared for it. So we decided to get the insights from the best in the country and share them with all, free of charge, available to everyone, accessible to everyone, so that they can implement these changes, be ready for the future, and also improve education. Because there is no better opportunity than a crisis. Today, I am joined by some amazing educators who have used this crisis to create wonderful opportunities for their students, for their school staff, for the teachers, and all the other stakeholders in the school as well. And that is why today's topic is going to be revolving around what happens once the students come back to school after the pandemic's lockdown. Today's topic essentially will be about evolving pedagogies for Gen Z and post-COVID behavioral changes in students. I think as educators, all of us recognize that after COVID has ended, students have come back and they are a different lot than we were used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me introduce today's panelists. A small introduction for everyone. We are today joined by Dr. Mala Gupta, who is the principal of Springdales, Pusa Road, the very famous Springdales School, Pusa Road. She has more than 24 years of experience and has helped CBSE in various forums in understanding various aspects of this. And ma'am, we have been very closely associated with you during the pandemic also. So we know how things have happened in Springdales, and we would like to know more about them.
Yes.
We are also joined by Ms. Geeta Chhabra from Bhopal. She is the principal of Sharda Vidya Mandir in Bhopal, and she has been an excellent educator for the last 26 years. She has also been awarded by the HRD minister of that time, Smriti Irani ji, for her exemplary work in the field of education. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
And then we are joined by Maya Fernandes, ma'am. She is the principal of the Downtown School in Guwahati. And just like me, she also belongs to an army background. She has traveled all over the country and seen various nooks and corners of the country. She is a highly educated and highly decorated English educator. And she recently won or was the recipient of the APJ Abdul Kalam Award for Education as well. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to have all of you over here. Let's begin with the introductory comments on our topic. Let me just repeat it again. Evolving pedagogies for Gen Z and post-COVID behavioral changes in students. So, Dr. Mala Gupta, ma'am, we'll start with you.
Thank you.
What do you want to tell us about
nice
this?
Introduction. Yes, as educators, once the pandemic was over and the first challenge was to get all the students together in the school. And here in my school, I tried and did it in a staggered manner because, as a school head, we were also worried because, nothing was for certain. that what is going to happen and how children are going to, take it, the infections, whatever. So, and what we believed and saw was it was really a challenge to get your own students back. Somebody who was in junior school suddenly came at the upper middle school. Somebody who was entered in the middle school came into the senior school, and how there was a complete behavioral change, as though we start the same kind of training when the child enters into the nursery. All their conditional skills and training had gone. They had forgotten that they are addressing to the teachers. Very often we would hear, "Hi, ma'am," "Hello, ma'am." And, so you had to wish them and you have to say that, "Well, good morning, get up. These are your teachers." So we started from there. A lot of mental issues, a lot of behavioral changes we had seen. Pandemic means they were quarantined in their one room with different spots for different people at home because everybody was working from home. They got restricted to their electronic gadgets, whatever it would be, and they were in an absolutely a pseudo world where they lost the reality with one another. Their communication skills dipped completely. They preferred to be either all alone. And yet every day we are making strategies, how to bring them back, because I've seen a lot of aggression among students. The language, what they are using is absolutely, which is, kind of not used in school. So I've seen that a lot of abuse has been picked up by children, and which they use it quite okay. They are very okay using it, and the physical fights, because there is no coherence of their ideas and opinions. So everybody feels that it is my way or the highway, and they also feel it is cool. It's cool to be like that. So these are the situations that we are coming across on daily basis, and how we are remodeling to help them, and remodeling the staff duties, how staff is coming up together. But I would definitely like to say one thing, that the teachers have been really working hard together as a team. And I always say it, that if the medical practitioners were COVID warriors, teachers are no less than COVID healers, because they are all the time doing a dual role. They are taking their subject forward with the kind of syllabus, and the lifespan of the year has shortened, because of the unprecedented timely the examination of the board. But at the same time, every teacher is working as a counselor in their own capacity. And yes, it is a difficult time. It is a difficult time that we are grappling with, but we are on it, and the children have started understanding, because now it is going to be almost, from April, let's say 7 or 8 months have passed, 10 months have passed, and things are taking better shape. But yes, it is not easy for educationists all over, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. I think the insight about the normalization of bad behavior, which has happened, they just consider it normal. It's amazing. Yeah. Geeta, ma'am, I would like to know from you, what have you experienced?
As Mala ma'am said, initially the parents and the students were very excited to come back to school. They were looking forward when the school will open. But as soon as the school opened and they came and they entered the portals of the school, and we made them sit in the class and do some activity, the children realized that no, this is no fun.
Yeah.
Because especially those little children who've been, who took admission in school and they've been sitting in the laps of their mothers and were studying, they thought this is what education is. Parents also had a lot of high expectations. Like they were saying, ma'am, we were thinking the child will enjoy school and the child is crying, the child doesn't want to come to school. So one fine day I had to take a counseling session for the parents, and I had to tell them, the picture of the school that your little child had from past 2 years has been different. And now when the child has actually come into formal education, being in a proper scenario with many other students, so they are finding it difficult to adjust. So you need to first adjust to it. And as a school, as Mala ma'am said earlier, we used to have only nursery kids or kindergarten kids, crying and whining, and we settled there. I tell you, this time even class 1, still children were crying, grade 1, grade 2.
They were puking all the time. They were puking early in the morning. It was so difficult.
Yes, and whining, and I want to go home, I have stomach ache, I have this. So the teachers initially 1 month did not teach them. They were just trying to settle them and give them that motherly love. Keep them comfortable. So that was one big challenge. When you find till elementary school, everybody is in tears and children are unwilling. Slowly things settle. That the teachers, rather, I told teachers, don't teach much. I mean, you teach us one little concept, it's okay. We will cut down syllabus. Important thing is that the children should settle. Slowly that happened. Then they were unable to write. I mean, they had not developed the habit of reading and writing, because when we were taking online classes, probably they did not have the routine that we had in school. So since the routine was broken, so they were not reading properly. They were not able to write. There was no speed. The teachers would come to me, even class 9th and 10th and 8th grade, ma'am, the kids are not able to finish the question answers or the notes that we give in time. So we are lacking there. So then we had to work on certain motivational strategies. One strategy that I worked in was appreciate them for something, or children like to play games, or the little one wants to go to the smart class. They enjoy that I class when we show them some movie or some cartoon or something. So I said, whoever will finish fast will be sent to the I class. They will watch the cartoon. So the ones who used to finish fast would go, and the ones who were slow writer also were motivated because they are watching Tom and Jerry and I'm writing answers. So then, but then I made sure that even the child who finished last, like if the co-teacher is taking care of the children who finished first and they went, so the child who wrote last also went to the I class, also went to see the movie, even if for 5 minutes. But that motivation that you'll be appreciated and given awarded if you finish your work. So that gradually helped. Even till grade 3, 4, we had to do this. It gradually helped them write a little faster. But there was a lot of difficulty in settling the parents as well as children initially.
Wow. Ma'am, that is amazing. I mean, you had to come up with completely new motivational activities and techniques apart from the already existing pedagogy, because that just stopped working.
Actually, everything what we did in the past have stopped working. Every day we are reinventing the wheel. Every day we are remodeling our structure. We are having so much of meetings with the staff, and this problem with Geeta, you've said, is very correct, because children have lost the habit of writing. And the second very important thing, Saurabh, before we come to Maya ma'am, is that, online testing was actually, absolutely of no use. That was just a kind of, a tick mark that assessment has happened, because everybody was copying. And so when they came into the real world and they started writing physically for the examination, the confidence level hit them hard, because everybody is an A+ on online testing.
Absolutely.
And when I spoke with children, when they were coming for the physical examination, and I realized that they're not doing anything, and I caught hold of one child and I said, but you've written absolutely perfect answers. And then after talking and counseling, then he said, ma'am, this is DM. I said, DM? What is DM? And they said, ma'am, we have groups, and one bright student is in every group. And so direct messaging, matlab, he will directly copy paste his answer and you copy. See, this is what online testing has given them. And absolutely, so we used to constantly keep announcing that, listen, this is just a reality check. Write what you know. Don't worry about the marks. Nobody's going to fail. I'm not going to fail anybody. But just feel confident enough to do a portion and appear from that. Gradually, we have kind of overcome. I will come back to you
with the reality check. I think that's a very important part we all have to discuss. I'll just ask Maya ma'am, amongst all these things, what else happened?
Well, most of the parts have been covered by eminent partners here. But you know what? For me, this change was an opportunity to do better, to reevaluate the system of the school, to reevaluate the whole pedagogy that was happening in the school, and honestly, I have been very lucky because there's not a single child in my school who does not want to come to school. I mean, they cry, and I get calls from parents saying that, listen, he's not well and he's not listening. He wants to come to school. So what we actually did was we took it very slow. That was the instruction for the teachers. I was like, listen, it's all right. We have a certain benchmark that, okay, third standard child should know X, Y, Z concepts, the LOs described by the NCF. Just focus on that. So initially when the school started in the month of April, from April to May, mid-May, we just did a bridging of the learning gap.
Yeah.
So we just went back, like a fourth standard child was taught all the concepts of third standard to bring him up to the curve of fourth standard. Because I think it is unfair to assess a child when he has not even known the concepts of the previous class. So we spent the entire 1.5 months actively just by recapitulating the concepts of the previous class. So it went like that, like a fifth standard child learned fourth standard, a fourth standard child learned third standard, to bring them up to a certain curve. And then on we took off with the syllabus. Of course, it was time consuming. There was a lot of effort going in there by the teachers. The parents were very cooperative because this was something that I discussed with the parent in the parent orientation that, look, your child is not ready for the grade that he's going to. And it is not fair that we scare them out. The intention was to bring back the love of learning rather than just making them ready for the next class. So that is exactly what we did in our school. We just took it very, very slow. Parents, again, we were always keeping them in the loop that, look, this is what is happening. This is what is happening. There was a huge learning gap, like Mala ma'am and Geeta ma'am mentioned, where the children have not seen the school, not gone to school. So we had to take the parents into confidence and speak to them and regularly update them about the progress of the child. Also, one more interesting thing that we did was we changed the schedule of the students. Like, we had the activity classes happening in between the academic class. Usually what happens is we have activity classes towards the end or whatever. So there are some music classes that happen as first period in my class. There are some dance classes. The swimming class happens immediately as soon as it's a day boarding school. So the swimming class happens as soon as the child walks into the school. So they have something to look forward to. So the younger ones, they're having fun. And then there was something called nap room, which is very popular in my school. We brought in something called nap room. So anybody who is feeling sleepy, because that's what they were doing at home. So anybody who was feeling sleepy would just walk into the principal's room and would say that, ma'am, I am feeling sleepy. Whether it's teacher, whether it's student, whether it's admin staff, whoever, and they have access to the nap room for 30 minutes. That really helped us a lot. Not just the students, but the teachers also. They're like,
wow, the teachers would be very happy.
This is amazing, ma'am. You had a siesta room and people must have used it for fiesta also. That's yes, amazing. I really want to know, how did you get these ideas?
So that's how I said, COVID was a chance for me to actually change and get better at what I am doing. The idea of educator is not to teach, but to develop a love of learning. And that's exactly the COVID gave me this platform to do it. So I was very happy about it.
So Maya ma'am reinforced the power of power nap.
And one thing, Saurabh, I would like to say is that, parents also supported a lot. In my school, I've had series of parent orientation we began with first, explaining them, as Maya ma'am said, and how we are going to take it from there. And, a lot of changes were brought in, more focus on co-scholastic, as the Directorate of Education has, sent a circular from class 3 to class 8. The whole format of question paper got changed, and the parameters got changed. So whatever we did with the students, and of course it is done for the benefit of the child, so that the child doesn't feel the pressure of rote learning. A lot of good work has come up from classes 3 to 8, where there are efforts being made that rote learning is being reduced, and conceptualized learning is more increased, and activity based learning is more increased, and different format of assessment has come in. And even you are making your portfolio, and portfolio could be anything which the child has done best, that becomes his portfolio. And peer assessment has happened. So we did sessions and sessions with the parents. We made parents understand that how this is going to be helping them, because most of the parents are working these days. So we said that now you don't have to worry that you have to teach a particular chapter, because you do not know that a particular chapter may be tested by an open book, particular chapter may be tested. I could show a movie in a let's say climate change, and thereafter I will just give you handouts where you just answer the question what you've seen and you've understood. So at least the burden on the parents of the especially middle school is reduced if we focus on multiple assessment pattern. And of course, in the senior classes, 9th and 11th, based on 10th and 12th, the format has been changed. So now more focus is also on objective based learning. Multiple choice questions have come in. A good thing which has come in, which is helpful both to students and teachers, is comprehensive based assessment, like a paragraph is being given, or something is being given. Source based questions are there, diagram based questions are there, that can be attempted by the child without preparing for it. So if you read it very well, or you understand the diagram very well, the questions are based on that. So that Amazing. Is slowly bringing back the confidence of the students. So,
and just to tell everyone, ma'am is the recipient of the Radhakrishnan Teachers Award by Delhi University, and she has actually helped in curriculum development along with the departments of education from Australia as well. And you can see all that coming in the processes that she developed here. Geeta ma'am, I just you spoke a lot about parents as well. I wanted to know how effective how effective you had to make the communication with the parents, because communicating all these to parents today who are already conditioned to understand कि नहीं, school ऐसा होता है, you go to school, this is what is supposed to be done, and this is what is supposed to be achieved out of that. Communicating all these complex things to hundreds of parents, how did you manage
Answering a lot of mails on daily basis.
Absolutely.
At a drop of the hat, you get a mail. But, I answer all my mails myself, because without having a mediator, because then, you can do a prompt reply. And another thing which I would like to tell you before Geeta ma'am comes in, we all know that we have a diverse and an inclusive schools with 25% of students from economically backward communities. And it is not just giving admission and paying their fees, tuition fees, or providing them basic. The whole idea is also to bring them at par with the rest of the students. So I would just share one practice which I've done in my school. I've created a Let's Learn group. So every class from nursery to class 12, we created a group called as Let's Learn. And there, all these students who are from this category have been, added. Now, Monday and Friday, we give 2 periods to only these students to revise the topic which has been done, so that, they understand and they don't shy away from any kind of assessment, or, otherwise absenteeism becomes a major challenge with these students. So slowly and gradually, the parents have got a lot of faith that, that it is really hand-holding of these students. So this is one practice which I started, and I'm very happy the way it is going on. And every PTM, every month, there is a parent-teachers interaction, because that has increased after COVID. We have more and more engagement. But with this group, I have a separate engagement with the parents where I address to them in Hindi and make them understand that how's the school helping.
This is amazing, and this has added one more question to Geeta ma'am now. Ma'am, so first is how did you communicate all these complex things to parents? And secondly, do you think it was needed always to have more interaction with parents, and now finally it has happened?
Yes, actually, as Maya ma'am and Mala ma'am said, we were supposed to keep the parents in loop right from the beginning, even when online classes were going on. And during online classes, I told my teachers and the parents that let's use adversity as an opportunity. So if online classes are happening, I told the mothers, you sit beside your child and you also learn. To some mothers, their English improved because they were taking those English grammar classes when the teachers were teaching. Now, what happened during that? Some parents were very active and they very involved with the education of their child, and they actually sincerely worked, as teachers told them during the pandemic. Some parents took it as a chore and did it because they had to do it because it's been told. When the schools reopened, so those mothers who have been very actively involved in their child's education were clueless. They would call, they would send us mails. We do not know what is happening in the school. Can you send us what was the board work? Can you send us how the lesson was done today? We want to recapitulate with our child. We do not know how is it done. So the traditional system where the child was independently doing its own studies, when the parents were not so much involved, only they get to know the homework, that they were not able to accept, especially the junior classes or the 4th, 5th till grade 6 where the mothers were involved. And some parents who did that hand-holding of the child during pandemic as a chore completely left their children. They stopped paying attention to them. They thought of school gaya, so let it get over with it. And everything the school has to do, I should not be bothered with the child's education. So there were two different extremes of parents. One who were completely into it and they were texting us and mailing us and coming and meeting us that they want daily record of what is happening in the school. Because they are clueless. What is happening? What is the child learning? Which home was done? Which lesson was done? All that stuff. So we had to actually counsel both of them. To those parents who were doing so much, we told them, you were independent when you studied in your school. You did not have so much of hand-holding. When will your child become independent? If the child knows, Mama will make me understand this concept again at home, or Mama will help me do my homework later, the child will not pay attention to the teacher. He will never become independent. And never take responsibility of learning in school. And to those parents who had completely left it on the school, we told them that the child needs a little hand-holding at home because everything that has been done in the school needs a revision. That is the concept of homework. Otherwise, if we can make the child write 5 answers, we can make the child write another 2 also. But the homework is given so that it's a revision of all that has been done throughout the day. So that balance had to be maintained. And as Mala ma'am, we had to, completely respond to their mails. Yeah. To their texts, to their queries.
The second part, do you think this interaction was necessary and always warranted, but never happened, and now it is happening?
It was necessary. It happened earlier, but then the parents were not so anxious as they are now. Slowly and gradually, number of mails are decreasing. The text that we are getting is increasing. The complaints we are getting are decreasing. So, but of course, there has to be a balance. Sort of, you cannot have everybody, you cannot be answering parents for every little thing every time. I used to tell them, leave something on us.
Yeah, correct.
Once the child has come to a school, you have entrusted us. So if you're doing something, leave something for us. Trust us. So there has to be balance. We cannot answer every action of ours.
No. So it is better to engage them in one-to-one orientation and parent-teacher. I have increased the frequency of parent-teachers meetings.
PTMs.
See, earlier used to happen that when the result was declared, the parent-teachers meeting used to happen then. So by and large, first orientation when they enter into the new school class, and then after a result. So 3, I have tried that. Let's meet once in a month. One Saturday, let's meet with the parents. Have an open platform where anybody can come at a designated time and meet with the teachers or the principals. That has helped because their anxiety has already been addressed too. And, they have good faith in the school. And they want to understand because they are equal stakeholders, in the child's holistic development. So
ma'am, I would like to invite comments from Maya ma'am now.
Yeah.
Sir, ma'am, what do you think about this? How have you managed this parent interaction, parent expectation, and then expectation setting also? Ki itna hi hoga.
Well, actually, frankly speaking, I began with the orientation and asking the parents to take ownership. I said, we are partners now. You and I are a partner, and all we have in sight is the best that a child requires. So you need to be vocal. You need to come and talk to me if there is something that is missing or something that can be done better. And we will be open for the suggestions, and we will be communicating to you. Having said that, there was something called a monthly newsletter, which started going because most of the parents are working parents, So inviting them, and that's the reason the day boarding school is happening, because the parents are working both. So, there's something called newsletter, monthly newsletter that I send, which gives a complete information about what is going to happen the next month. It gets issued on the 30th of the previous month. So the dates are marked, the activities are marked, everything is clearly mentioned there. Apart from that, what we are doing at my school is we are sending a weekly status update, wherein we are describing everything that has happened with the child in the school for that week. Like, for example, in dance class, they danced on this number. In art and craft plans, page number so-and-so of drawing was done. In English class, this was completed, that was completed, or mathematics, these exercises. So it's a detailed update of every week that is going to the parents on every Friday evening, along with the books. Our school is a no-back school, so we don't send books throughout the week. We only send it on Friday evening. So this is the update that we send. There are certain parents who sit with the child and go through the books. There are certain parents who don't bother because they already have a brief about what has happened in the classroom or what has happened in the school. And apart from that, like Mala ma'am and Geeta ma'am mentioned, the one-on-one meetings with the parents, parents teachers meets was one opportunity where I could meet each and every parent and speak to them. And there's something also called goodwill calls that are happening from the school twice a month. So all the teachers get random chances, like the class teacher initiates the first calling, and then the subject teachers are also given the numbers. And every Saturday, 2 Saturdays. So one Saturday, the class teacher makes the goodwill call. The other Saturday, the subject teachers make a goodwill call, just to make sure that the parents are in the loop of the process of what the child is learning at the school. So that gave them a sense of ownership and belonging with the school. And that really helped me to make certain changes or, re-evaluate certain rules and certain, things in the school. So, yeah, that is what we are doing at school.
Yeah. I would like to add on to this, ma'am. I introduced this. I told the teachers that you need to make one call per day. Like there are 28 to 30 students in a section. One call per day, you just call one child. If the child is very good, appreciate the parents, tell them that how you're working and it is going well, please continue the same and all. If there is some loop, some lack, inform it to the parent. So they will feel happy. So basically we were trying to tell them that yes, you and I are a team to raise the child. We are not competitors. That school is best or the parents are better or other is better. So we have to reinforce them that we are a team. And we both are focused on raising this child as a future citizen of the country, somebody who's wonderful. So this one phone call per day has helped. So 30 days the parent gets one call by the class teacher, if required in between by the subject teacher. So this worked very well.
Wow. Ma'am, all three of you have clearly shown how we can convert a crisis into an opportunity. With this opportunity, what I feel is the parents are more involved now. The teachers have, that support system that parents are also there. There's a collective team, because I keep, using this particular saying or proverb again and again. It takes a village to raise a child. And you clearly have created that village full of teachers and parents and all the other stakeholders involved. Which brings me to another very important point. And Maya ma'am, I would like to start with you this time. In 2015, I published a research report as part of my, education about the burnout rate of teachers. And teachers are some of the most burnt out professionals in the country. And as Mala ma'am said, they acted as COVID healers during the last 2.5 years. That just added on so much pressure on them. There was teacher training, there was understanding COVID, there was managing your own families, then there was managing students, parents' expectations, learning new ways of doing things. How did teachers manage this? How are you supporting your teachers in the school? And this is also a question from YouTube actually, right now, the live question.
Yes.
So Maya ma'am, I would like to start with you.
Yeah, this is very interesting, and I'm glad that I'm talking about this. I keep on the philosophy as a leader of the school that one teacher unhappy makes 120 children not like the school that day. This is massive. Okay, 120 बच्चे उस दिन स्कूल से घर जाते हैं sad, because that one teacher was upset about something, was not happy about something, or was tired probably. So honestly, my team is my strength. And it's very important that I look after their well-being, because ultimately they are the ones who are going to shape the future in the classroom. So what we have done, or rather what I have tried to do in the capacity, and being a teacher myself for so many years as well, I have tried to motivate them by encouraging them to take their time off. It's very important that you cut off from work, at least for some days. So there is absolutely no work after the school hours, no phone calls, no text, nothing. And this we have also requested our parents, and they have very graciously accepted the fact that the teachers need to have their me time. It's also very important that you lead from the front. So I personally make sure to learn one new skill every year. Maybe starting to run marathons, or learning guitar, or, some or the other skill set. And this encourages, obviously, my teachers also to pick up a new skill, whether it's a foreign language, or whether it's an art and craft thing, or whatever, which disconnects them from the work, but eventually helps them in the work, somewhere or the other, whatever skills you learn. So that has really helped my teachers to stay motivated and happy. And, handling the pressure and all, I think it's always nice that you get into the ground with them and work with them. I'm sure both my colleagues would agree to it. Unless and until you get into the ground and you start working with them, you can't really expect them to deliver. Yeah. So that was one thing that I made sure that whether it was 7 o'clock in the morning or whether it was 11 o'clock in the night, I am there to answer whatever the query or the doubts they had. And that built the trust, that got us together. And like I said, my nap room is pretty famous. So
I agree. I agree with what Maya has said, because, in COVID time, I'll share our experience. During COVID time, what used to happen, our day used to begin at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 a.m., the first message, followed by series of messages and series of phone calls. Now, we forget at that time that every teacher also has a family. Now, when I'm disrupting their time, the whole family gets disrupted. And during COVID time, we had meetings after meeting, because A, everybody was grappling with learning new technology. B, nobody knew what is going to happen. So everybody was passing on to the buck. And, so first thing which I did was, when I took over, is that I don't want to disrupt anybody's morning. Nothing is going to happen in that 2 hours. Even if there is an urgency, let's reach to the school. Let's talk, rather than, sending messages and endless phone calls. And yes, I try my level best that I don't, kind of engage by chats or by phone calls in the evening, unless and until it is important and an emergency. Then they send me a message, and, we then connect. So 2.5 years, actually, each and every person has suffered, personal losses, family disruptions, loss of other activities which has taken place. So that is a very valid point, Maya. We also follow the same thing. And yes, teachers need a lot of support. This is the question which somebody has said. Teachers need a lot of support, because we have teachers of all age group. There were some teachers who were about to superannuate when they were asked to learn online teaching methodology. It was not very easy. At the same time, no teacher wants to sit back and say that, well, I can't do it online, so somebody else will take my class. This is the last thing the teacher would like to do. And, I had teachers who were maybe 59 and a half. They had just 6 months to go, but they learned. Every teacher was provided training by a computer resource center. The teachers of computer resource center, whether it was an engineer or it was a teacher in charge, they supported the teachers. And even now, we have series of small seminars, where teachers are made proficient in knowing how to be safe while doing online. Because it is very important that we should understand that, what can be a problem if we are not aware. So learning, all the do's and don'ts of using electronic devices, and, especially for teaching, because, sometimes you put up your material on the class group. thinking that it is helpful to the child. Now, what is the other side of it? The child becomes lazy. The parents think that they are going to post it anyways. So it is going to come to me. Now, one day you don't post and they will come and they will say, well, the material was not posted. So we devised a methodology that, all right, for slow learners, for people who could not complete, the material would be on their classroom for a week's time, after which we will withdraw. So children have to write in their copies, otherwise they will forget the habit of writing. So a lot of such workshop and training took place. One good thing which I would like to share with you, the middle school is actually the area which we need to work on more. Middle school is a very tricky area. And, so there I started doing a lot of session along with my counselor on issues like anger, So why do we get so angry? So we would show them a nice video, and then we have one-to-one interaction. And then we'll ask randomly the students who feels very angry all the time. Why are you angry? When was last time you were angry? So after that session of, let's say, 45 minutes, then we give them a self-reflective sheet to them. And there and then they will write down, which is very personal, and their names are optional. Now, with this, my counselor could really analyze what children are going through, and then we come to a conclusion. And then we do a follow-up activity. I have very successfully done 3 sessions, one on anger, one on puberty-related issues, and one is why are we so hooked on to phones? Everybody want to carry phone. Everybody want to have phone all the time. So what is the time management and how have they suffered using the phone? And children are being very honest. And they tell you that, yes, my grades have dropped because now I'm all the time on phone. Now I've realized. And then they go back to their classroom in the last period, and in their diary, school diary, they will write what they have learned. Nobody's going to tell them. And they will write what they have learned and what is the promise that they're making to themselves after doing that session. So I'm telling them, don't promise me or your parents or your teachers. Promise yourself one small thing if you've learned something from the session. That this is very engaging. As a school head, you have to take a lot of time out, but I think it is very fulfilling.
Beautiful, ma'am. Beautiful. I mean, I can't even imagine that, this crisis actually helped us now in bringing back reflection and journaling and all these beautiful activities and habits in the students' lives. Geeta, ma'am, what have your experiences been?
As Maya ma'am told us, that she made sure that the teachers are not burnt out or there's no work after school. They also get their me time. We did the same. Initially, there were so many calls, because now we have WhatsApp groups and the teacher's number is there and there's a class WhatsApp group, which was not there earlier.
Yeah.
So the parents have the habit of directly calling the class teacher and talking to her. So first thing I told was all the teachers, you would give a time that I can be contacted between 6 a.m., between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Whenever you have any problem, don't call me before and after. And we set up a 24/7 helpline number. Before or after that, if you need to communicate something to school, please contact this number. And that was a kind of a customer care number taken care of by the coordinator, who otherwise did not have other things to do. So that helped. The parents could reach out, if not to the teacher, then the coordinator, and it would bring to our notice if there was something that needed attention and the teacher need to address. Otherwise, if it can be carried on. So we had to give that teacher some me time. Yeah. And we did that during the pandemic as well. Because the teacher, after taking class, was supposed to prepare for the next day as well.
Yeah.
And second thing, but I told my teachers, I'm available 24/7. So whenever they called, as Mala ma'am said, I was available in a very happy and joy mood and sort of all their problems. I said, whenever you have a block, call me. I'll be there to help you, give you a solution. Because that's what all leaders have to do. Maya ma'am did the same. Mala ma'am was telling the same. And third and important thing was, after the school reopened, I started a zero period. Like besides the teaching period that they should get, like for English, they should get these many teaching periods. I took out a 20, 25 minute, 30 minute zero period till middle school. Now that zero period was a class teacher's period with the students. So whatever they had to speak, class 1 child will even share that my mother has brought chocolate ice cream for me today, whatever. But I gave that opportunity, and that was a conversation time between the class teacher and the child. I said, because otherwise during the teaching period, they're so busy, they have to finish the syllabus also.
Yeah, so we call it in the circle time. Correct.
So the child wants to share so many things, especially the little ones want to tell, I got a new dress today, tomorrow is my birthday. So I said, this 30 minutes is completely between you and your students. Talk about anything that they want. And suppose the teacher of class 7 notices that this is wrong in my class, my kids are indisciplined, my students are this, the subject teacher is complaining to about my class about this. She would take up that topic and speak about that in that 0 period. Not quoting any child. She would just take up a story or an incident and narrate in the class and telling, such things are wrong, it should not happen. It had a great impact. The indiscipline, the major problem that we faced when the students came back to school, got sorted slowly and gradually like this. Children did not know how to sit, as ma'am said, they did not know how to address the teacher. They did not know how to behave with their friends, using foul language. Slowly and gradually, with that kind of 0 period, it was like an ashram assembly where it was only the teacher and the students and just 30 of them and everything is between them. It helped because teacher every day, like a mother would speak to her child, the class teacher would speak to her children and share whatever they had in mind.
Geeta ma'am, human beings are creatures of habit, right? And Mala ma'am also pointed out earlier that, and Maya ma'am as well. After some time, and you also said, some parents took it as chores, so then they forgot about all these things. All these wonderful practices that you have implemented in your schools, do you see students and teachers taking them forward as part of their daily lives, or do you just think that they're just using it as tools? I just need to do it right now to solve my problem, and then later on I can go back to my original ways. Do you think it's becoming part of their lives now? They want to assimilate this habit in their daily processes. What do you think about that?
They will continue, Saurabh, because they're seeing that there is a benefits. When they see the benefits, all the practices that we have introduced, and it has, again, the parent and the teacher has become a team to raise the child, that they can see the benefit. So now the parents also love the teacher. And then all these activities that we introduce, and I know every morning we all, like ma'am said, we all sit together and learn something. So I used to give them new activities that you can introduce in your class. And I would tell the teachers that you need to do certain things which makes the child love the school, love the subject, and love you. And look forward to come to school. All that happened. So amazing. Teachers are also getting the benefits. Parents are also seeing the benefit. They also feel happy when the class teacher calls, if it gets once a month, or a subject teacher calls, to appreciate the child and then bring out whatever is lacking. So they feel appreciated. So it will continue. Because
I also think
opportunities come from adversity. So we have to come up with new solutions and benefits.
No, basic thing is sensitization to students. I have seen on any issue, there are definitely several issues which never existed in the past. Which we could never have imagined, the children making small kind of, funny games, which could be very demotivating for others. But if you sensitize the students, I am talking about 6th standard and 7th standard. See, 10th, 11th, 12th are grown up. But these children also, if you sensitize them, then, you get volunteers from within. And they will say, no, this is not good. Let's not do this. And then, when we were talking about all abusive language and all those things, so we've got, a kind of a monitor in the class who's going to check, if somebody is using, otherwise, they would say that, how does it make a difference to me? I'm not speaking. And some of the one of my 11th class, 4 children came to me and said, yes, ma'am, we've heard a lot of such kind of foul language being used during the break time and during the dispersal time. And we would like to engage with the students. So we made a kind of a students committee who is going to talk to the children along with the counselor, without the teachers. Because, children connect to children easily. And then they share things. And then only when you get to know what is there in their mind, that you can then look at the corrective measures. So this is something which I have seen in my school, where some sensitive children have grouped together. They said, we would like to talk to you, ma'am. They made a team and they said, ma'am, yes, this has been happening. We see that you are engaging with the student. We would like to take it forward. Now, this is the best thing which a principal can get as a support from the students, along with their teachers who are always with them.
Absolutely. Maya ma'am, please, your comments. Thank you.
That because frankly, Mr. Nanda, we are competing with the AI, and these qualities that Geeta ma'am mentioned is precisely why we need a teacher in the classroom. And this is what I have been harping again and again with my team: be kind. Be kind, because that is what the children right now are looking for. Kindness, being kind to them, making them feel comfortable is what is the only thing that they are. Listen, we have taken 2 years of their childhood, and how cruel is it? It's because of us, right? We adults, and we are responsible for it, and we have to make it up to them. And that is the reason, like there are so many conversations happening whether AI will take over. And yes, AI it's no point fighting AI, because it is there, it will stay. It is a technique which is going to make our life as teachers easy if we don't fight it, and if we make it a part of our pedagogy or
Absolutely,
technique.
ma'am. Absolutely. In fact, let me just give a small statement here for this conversation itself. The conversation has gone so organically, so naturally, so beautifully that we've almost reached the end of it. And you will not believe that all the questions which are naturally coming on the YouTube chat, you are answering them preemptively. Before they type the question, that answer is already there. So all the people who are watching it live, all your questions have been answered. I don't even have to, talk about it. With the interest of time in mind, although I would love to have this conversation for another 2 hours, I would like to invite some concluding comments now, because I know everyone is pressed for time. Annual days and sports days are going on. So, Mala, Gupta ma'am, let's start with you. What your concluding comments would be about this conversation and the future ahead and so on?
No, I think, Saurabh, first of all, I'll thank you and your team to have a platform like that, because it is better to talk about it rather than to shy away from it, because only when you talk, you identify, then there'll be corrective practices. And yes, the times were difficult. We took good time. We are still struggling, but I can see the change. There are positive aspects also. Children who've joined after 2 years, they want to do something. You name an activity and you get hordes of children preparing. I just did a small Azadi Ka Jashan from 6th, 7th, 8th, and I had 712 students participating, literally every child of middle school. I'm planning an annual day where again children are coming in spite of the fact there is a syllabus crunch and they have the board examination. So human being is blessed with this quality of adaptiveness. We are very adaptable, and we show a great adaptability, which is definitely going to take care of all these worries. Yes, we have to take it as a challenge, and we have to work as a team. Individual cannot bring in a difference. As a team, we can bring in a change that we would like to see in our students, and our students are foremost for us, and parents are our resources. So we cannot negate parents. Parents are resources, and together we can definitely, take forward our mission of education. Thank you.
Geeta ma'am.
First of all, before we end, I would like to thank you and Pratham for introducing us to this wonderful panel and this discussion. As ma'am just said, Mala ma'am, that again, we are a team. The parents should understand that what the teachers are expecting their children to do. The teachers should also understand the problem that the parent and the child is facing, because each child and each parent during this adversity was exposed to a different thing seen altogether. So we have to, and we all know that there is a gap of learning outcomes, and it has to be bridged. So two things. One is quality before quantity. The CBSE also has rationalized syllabus of 9 to 12. So we also need to rationalize our syllabus, focus more on important things rather than teaching the entire textbook, quality versus quantity. And, we might have to do certain things which are tailor-made for a particular child, because each child has a different kind of a problem and a setback during the pandemic. So focusing on that, we'll be able to, come up to the level. We can't expect a radical change that suddenly all of my come to this parameter that I have raised. We have to raise the bar for every child gradually, and eventually a little benchmark. Okay, this is what my child should know by the time they reach the next class. It has to go gradual. The 2 years gap cannot be filled in 1 year. It will take time. We need to bridge that. So keeping that in mind and keeping parents in loop and motivating the children with all the kinds of things we can do, we all will be able to move forward and come out of it as soon as possible.
Wonderful, ma'am. Maya ma'am, your concluding comments.
Well, thank you so much for bringing us all together. And I cannot thank you enough for giving us an opportunity to actually collaborate. And that is my point, that we need to collaborate more as leaders of school, as educators, because that's the key. Nowadays, it's not the art of teaching, but the science of learning that we are dealing with. And that's a big thing, a big paradigm shift that is happening. So, we need to channelize our energies about not teaching the content, but the skills. And it's about time that we as school leaders or educators come together and find the best possible options, like a platform like Pratham, wherein we come together, we exchange ideas, and we pick up and customize them as our own to bring about this change that is happening around us, so that our children feel safe, our children feel empowered about what they are learning, when they are learning, why they are learning, and from whom they want to learn. And instead of just being the facilitators, let's try and become, mind changers. Is what I feel. It's about time that we start becoming mind changers and not just facilitators or educators anymore. So yeah, thank you so much.
Fascinating. Thank you all for being here. It was a privilege, one of the best conversations I've had. And thank you for recognizing the platform that we've created, ma'am. We would like to expand this platform to do more, and we would be in touch with you to help us expand this platform, as to give us more ideas, because the amazing best practices that you have developed over the last 2 years in your schools, I think we don't need anybody else. We don't need to talk to anybody else, just you guys. Thank you all for being here. I wish you all the best. And just to tell everyone else, we are in this together. So if you have any comments, please share with us any feedback. We would love to hear them. We would directly take those feedback to Mala ma'am, Maya ma'am, and Geeta ma'am as well. Thank you all for being here and giving us your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Yeah.
Thank you. Pratham support team, we can stop the live now.
That has been done.
Yes. Okay. Well, ma'am.